Tonight on CFTK-TV News, Clean BC has chosen Smithers to be the host of a pilot project. Quite a few people in BC are considering moving elsewhere, and the Museum of Anthropology is set to publicly open again soon.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. In some news that will likely make quite a few Terrace residents very happy, construction workers were back on site and making progress on the sewer and water replacement project on Graham Avenue earlier today. This is a project that has been the source of much frustration for certain Terrace residents, as was made clear at a city council meeting towards the end of May. The frustration mainly stems from the fact that a series of unfortunate events have led to the project being delayed, and its cost has risen from a fair bit from its initial projection. Delays have resulted from crews discovering that natural gas utilities were located in their work area, which wasn't known about beforehand, as well as groundwater from melting snow seeping into the workspace as well. Also, the project is now likely to cost $4.74 million instead of the original projection of $2.59 million. In a recently released report, it was confirmed that Clean BC has officially chosen Smithers as the location that will play host to a brand new pilot project. The project is being called the BC Home Energy Planner, and it will allow for the town's residents to place their addresses into an interactive and free tool that also keeps track of the efficiency of how their house is operating, in addition to the tool giving out home improvement recommendations and rebate programs. For the time being, the tool is set to be a Smithers and Telkwa area exclusive until a bit later in the summer, when it's set to be made available to a few other places throughout the southern areas of BC. Those wanting to be part of the project can sign up for it at bchomeenergyplanner.ca/pilot information. The search that is said to have lasted about 6 months or so, the town of Smithers has finally found the additional community safety officer that they were looking for. The new officer goes by the name of Carl Chad, and he is a man who grew up in both Smithers and also has spent most of his life living in the Bulkley Valley. Chad is said to bring his decade of experience as a member of the RCMP's auxiliary program and is said to be looking forward to doing his part in making the community as safe as humanly possible. It was possible for the town of Smithers to hire another new community safety officer after they were giving the Northern Healthy Communities grant so that they could properly support the new hire. Even people who love living here in BC are considering uprooting their lives and moving to another province. New data shows a third of British Columbians are seriously thinking about a major change. CTV's Ben Milger has more on the affordability crisis that has people looking for greener pastures.
I feel like I've established a really great community here.
Aman Fazea loves living in Vancouver, but he might not stay.
Buying a property right now, I feel like is almost out of the question for me and my partner. We just can't afford to do it. We have considered potentially looking at opportunities in the United States or other provinces, specifically Alberta, because we do know the market's a little more affordable there.
New numbers from polling firm Angus Reid show 36% of British Columbians are seriously considering a move to a different province over affordability issues. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, that number jumps to 50%.
That says a lot about the bullishness or the level of optimism that young people are feeling about their futures in British Columbia, and they're not feeling great about it.
Last year, the province lost 8,000 more residents to other provinces than it gained. It was also the first time since 2012 we've seen negative interprovincial migration numbers. According to the province, BC continues to gain 10,000 new residents each month, primarily from other countries.
We need housing. We need to get to yes. We need to find ways to approve housing so that people can stay in British Columbia, or young people can continue to have a future here, and they can potentially raise their kids in the same neighborhoods that they grew up in.
The average home price in Vancouver was $1.35 million in May. Landlords in the city are asking an average of $2,600 for a one-bedroom apartment.
Everything about the city is fantastic. It's just a little expensive.
Coming up next is an update on the trial concerning a teen's death from several years ago. Welcome back. Her teen son was hit by a stray bullet as she drove their family home, and now the Coquitlam mother in question took the stand in the trial of the man accused of pulling the trigger. As Ben Nesbitt reports, another victim also took the stand on day 2 of the second-degree murder trial. And we should warn you, the details could be quite disturbing.
Alfred Wong and his parents had gone to visit his older brother in Vancouver on that dark January night in 2018, a weekly tradition for the family. But sadly, that would be the last time they were all together. On the witness stand, Wong's mother said as they departed along East Broadway, the loud bangs rang out. I heard some firecrackers noise, like pop, 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 said Chi Chan, who testified with a support dog at her side. The next thing is we heard Alfred saying, ow, ow, ow. Chan says they pulled over, confused, because Alfred was screaming, but she did not see blood. But then she noticed a bullet hole in the car door. Wong was rushed to hospital, but died a few days later. Kane Carter is charged with the second-degree murders of both Wong and Kevin Whiteside. Police believe Whiteside opened fire that night intending to kill a rival gang member who was dining at Indochine restaurant. Crown says bystander Shafel Kondoker was also grazed by a bullet during the crossfire after a bullet flew through the headrest of his vehicle. He testified that he saw a man shooting a gun from the sidewalk as he and his girlfriend drove by before they sped off. Kondoker says he noticed a small wound on his cheek moments later. Defense questioned how he was sure his wound was from a bullet, since it had mostly healed after only a week. Carter is also charged with the aggravated assault of Kondoker. The trial will continue on Wednesday. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
They're alleging harassment and illegal evictions for profit as some West End residents spoke up against a landlord who has been in hot water before. As Ben Milger reports, the landlord insists that he's doing everything by the book.
We are tired of the evictions.
Facing eviction from her home of 4 years, Paula Payot is fighting back. Joined by other tenants and members of the Vancouver Tenants Union, she marched on the offices of her landlord, Plan A Real Estate.
Just having a partner move in isn't an unreasonable request, especially if you've been together for a very long time. You know, it's kind of outrageous to think that some people aren't allowing this.
She says her partner does not currently live in the unit, something the landlord disputes.
You said that they lied about the person not occupying the premises. How do you know they were lying to you?
Because other tenants have told us that they regularly see this person in the building. They see his car. They always assume that he was a tenant.
It will be up to the residential tenancy branch to determine if that is sufficient evidence. In the meantime, the landlord says he has come under personal attack through a postering campaign in the West End.
Beware of West End slumlord. And another one got pests. They thought it would be okay for them to put my face deranged in various ways on these posters.
It's not clear exactly who is responsible for the posters, which he calls defamatory. There's a lot of bad blood in the neighborhood. Mary Weeks, a tenant in the building since 2011, says she has also been threatened with eviction.
It has been so horrible. Actually, it's been very hard on my mental health and my physical well-being.
In 2022, the residential tenancy branch fined the company $10,000 for trying to circumvent the Residential Tenancy Act on 152 different leases. Majathia says that's a separate matter and insists he's doing everything by the book here. He accuses the tenants of trying to self-govern his new building.
Irregardless of what the law is, and that's not going to happen.
So far, no evictions have been carried out since Plan A bought the building in April. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
It has one of the world's largest collections of West Coast Indigenous artifacts, and after a lengthy closure, the Museum of Anthropology is about to reopen its doors to the public. Significant seismic upgrades are now complete, but you wouldn't know by just looking at it. CTV's Mark McMahon explains.
The themes of family, connectivity, diversity.
It's been a long time since visitors could surround themselves with priceless Indigenous artifacts illustrating their long history on the West Coast. But after 18 months, the UBC Museum of Anthropology is set to reopen.
These are priceless. They speak to history, they speak to contemporaneity, and they speak to future generations.
But the museum and its remarkable collection wouldn't have survived the big one. So, the building underwent a significant seismic upgrade, and beyond the $40 million earthquake-proofing work, the museum has added 2 new exhibits.
People will be entering the space and they'll be really in an immersive space because there's huge scale imagery and film, there's audio that fills the space, and there's all of the beautiful objects and belongings that are also standing there as witnesses to this history that we're presenting.
The seismic work involved installing base isolation technology, the first time it's been used in a Canadian museum.
All the mounts for all the massive carvings have been carefully designed and engineered to move with the building, to withstand seismic upgrades. So it has provided an extra layer of protection.
The work has been described as challenging because staff wanted to preserve renowned architect Arthur Erickson's, quote, unconventional design of the 1976 building.
Our interventions that we did here, it doesn't appear like we've done much, so that was one of our main intents, was to go into the project and keep the architecture true to what it was before.
The museum reopens to the public Thursday evening. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast will deal with a chance of showers and see a low of 9 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area will also likely see a chance of showers while their low is at 7 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is instead set to get clear skies with a low of -2 degrees. On the North Coast, the week for them is almost exclusively going to see clouds as well as some rain and some sun too, and a high shifting from 12 to 14 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the upcoming week will instead get some more rain, but have the possibility of sun too, while the high bounces from 9 to 20 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, their next week or so will start off with a couple of sunny days, get an all-rain day, then see some mixed sun and cloud days, while the high moves between 15 and 21 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is utility work, bridge maintenance, construction work, road sweeping, paving operations, a geotechnical investigation, and several special events. On Highway 37, it has some paving operations, pavement patching, bridge maintenance, roadside brushing, and frost heaves. 37A has maintenance, and the Telegraph Creek Road has frost heaves. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come is a look at the crime that the U.S. president's son has been charged with. Welcome back. When they go back to class in the fall, elementary school students in Vancouver have to follow new rules that if they're going to bring their smartphones with them. Abigail Turner reports that Vancouver is the first school district to draft policies to comply with provincial requirements, and others will be watching closely.
Out of sight and on silent.
Their phones, if they're on the property, to have them in their bag or locker on silent.
The new rule starts September for Vancouver's kindergarten to grade 7 students. Direction from the school board after the province asked it to update its code of conduct in elementary schools.
This updated school code of conduct will help unify teachers as well. I think because things have been happening at a school level, this is a little bit more of a direction from the district.
But a blanket solution is something Vancouver's past VSB chair disagrees with.
whenever I hear the adults in the system saying, let's ban something, we don't like it, it often tells me they don't fully understand it.
The ban was decided in a vote Monday night, but Trustee Jennifer Reddy felt there wasn't enough consultation.
There are outstanding concerns around how we actually currently and will continue to address online bullying, device addiction, and balancing that with the way that students already use technology for learning.
The VSB decision comes just months after Ontario's school board voted to restrict cell phones in kindergarten to grade 6 classrooms. For those who disagree, using technology for learning outweighs any negatives.
As opposed to kind of just let's ban them and not deal with them because they make us anxious, let's look at this as a learning opportunity.
As for grade 8 to 12 students, the VSB chair says there's no firm decision yet. They're trying to balance distraction with critical thinking while also preparing students for life outside of the classroom. Abigail Turner, CTV News, Vancouver.
Green Party leader Elizabeth May is the first opposition party leader to view the unredacted version of a bombshell parliamentary report that revealed some MPs willingly participated in foreign interference. May said from what she's seen, there are no traitors sitting in Parliament. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
The top secret version of this.
The leader of the Green Party, Elizabeth May, got top secret clearance to view the 92-page report and came away relieved.
Are there currently MPs sitting with us in the chamber who would set out knowingly to sell out Canada for personal benefit? If there are, there's no evidence of that in the full report.
However, red flags were raised with one witting politician. On page 26, an MP who's no longer in office tried to organize a meeting in a foreign country with an intelligence operative.
That person should be fully investigated and prosecuted. That person is a former MP.
May says there's no list of names in the unredacted version of the National Security Parliamentary Report. The report suggested that a small number of sitting MPs and senators were under the influence of China and India and received money to help their campaigns during the 2019 and 2021 elections. May says these incidents took place during nominations and that there are less than a handful of compromised MPs. This analyst agrees that leaders can take action now.
She clearly believes that the ethics officers of both the House of Commons and the Senate need to be empowered to have some kind of oversight capacity to kind of be the policeman for the House of Commons and the Senate, just to ensure that members understand the rules, understand the threat of foreign interference.
May says all the party leaders can come together to find solutions, but to do that, they all have to read the report. Jagmeet Singh of the NDP and the Bloc's Yves-François Blanchette says they will get the top secret clearance, but Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says he has no intention of doing so because he doesn't want to be silenced. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
For the first time in American history, the child of a sitting president has been convicted of a federal crime. A Delaware jury found Hunter Biden guilty on all 3 charges tied to the possession of a gun while using narcotics. 2 of the counts carry maximum prison sentences of 10 years. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest.
Hunter Biden, President Biden's only surviving son, found guilty on all 3 charges tied to the possession of a gun while using narcotics. Special counsel David Weiss, appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland, brought the charges.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant.
During the trial, prosecutors argued Hunter knowingly lied on a federal form, checking a box claiming he was not an active drug user when he purchased a gun.
It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous.
Hunter Biden has admitted he's struggled with addiction, but claimed he was not doing drugs at the time. He has previously called the charges politically motivated. One of the 12 jurors said that's not the case.
For us, it was not politically motivated. So, politics never played in anything that we said in the jury room.
After his conviction, Hunter Biden released this statement saying, "I am disappointed by the outcome. Recovery is possible by the grace of God. First Lady Jill Biden has been by her son's side for most of the trial. President Biden did not address the verdict during a previously scheduled gun safety event, but in a statement, the president said, "I will always be there for Hunter. Nothing will ever change that."
And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is up 35/10 of a cent, the price of gold is up $28.20, oil is up 6 cents, natural gas is down 8 cents, aluminum is down $38.50, in Toronto the TSX is up 74.21 points, the Venture Index is up 6.09, in New York the Dow Jones is down 35.21, and NASDAQ is up 264.89. Still ahead, a basketball team is paying tribute to one of Canada's greatest heroes. Welcome back. The Vancouver Bandits basketball team has unveiled special edition jerseys that the players will wear for a nationally televised game on Canada Day. As CTV's Ben Milger reports, the slick new threads pay tribute to one of this country's most enduring heroes.
Terry Fox's attempt to run across Canada after losing a leg to cancer has inspired people across the world to donate hundreds of millions of dollars to cancer research. But before the Marathon of Hope, Terry's first athletic passion was basketball.
Didn't quit. By the time he got to grade 10, he was one of the starting players and the captain of the team, and that continued even on to Simon Fraser University as a walk-on athlete, and he loved the game.
On Canada Day, the Vancouver Bandits will honor Terry's legacy as a runner and basketball player by wearing these special edition jerseys.
There's the Marathon of Hope, but Terry was a multi-sport athlete. We thought with a jersey dedicated in his name, we could honor the legend of Terry and bring new light to his legacy as well.
The jerseys contain a number of details linked to the Marathon of Hope, including the names of all the cities, towns, and parks that Terry ran through.
And the route through the Maritime provinces, Quebec, Ontario, and then being forced to stop in Thunder Bay.
The jerseys are available at the Bandits team store in the Langley Events Center, with partial proceeds going to the Terry Fox Foundation. The Canada Day game against the Niagara River Lions will be broadcast live from coast to coast on TSN, providing even more exposure for the jersey and the cause.
Not only is Terry going to get recognized, but we're continuing Terry's mission of raising money for cancer research, so one day the suffering that cancer causes will end.
44 years after the Marathon of Hope, Terry's legacy continues to grow and inspire. Ben Milger, CTV News, Langley.
The city of Vancouver says Hastings Park, which is also known as the PNE, has been selected as the site that will host the 2026 FIFA Fan Festival. The city is on record saying that this will be the best location to watch the World Cup matches for fans who do not have tickets to physically attend any games. The city next said the FIFA Fan Festival will run throughout the World Cup, that itself will run between June 11th to July 19th in 2026. Vancouver is scheduled to host 7 World Cup games at BC Place, with 2 of the matches set to involve Team Canada. That's all of our news for now. From all of us here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.